Welcome to Spinning. This is Josh and Lynn Taylor. In this video, we are going to show you how to properly pair a SPINPower Studio Computer to a SPINPower Studio Crank. Now, before we get started with the pairing process, I want to go over a few things that are in the box that are of importance. The first thing being the owner's manual. This is a thorough guide on how to properly pair, mount, and use the SPINPower Studio Computer. We highly recommend you keep this in a safe place just in case you need to do the pairing process again. And it also provides all the functionality of the computer. Next thing you're going to find in the box, of course, is the SPINPower Studio Computer itself. This computer does require 3 AAA batteries. And before you mount the computer on the handlebars with the provided mounting hardware, you need to do the pairing process that also requires you to install the batteries. I'd also like to point out before you do the pairing process that the SPINPower Studio Crank that you're going to be connecting needs to be out of the box, batteries installed, and have it either installed on the bike, or you can actually do this pairing process with the crank arm off the bike. If you're doing a multiple crank arm SPINPower Studio Computer install, I would recommend you do the pairing process with the crank arms off the bike. Now we're going to take you step by step on how to pair the SPINPower Studio Computer with the SPINPower Studio Crank. Len is going to go ahead and walk us through each step, and I'll add any notes that I need as we go along.
Okay, step 1, open the battery door cover, install only 2 of the 3 AAA batteries.
So I'm going to take the battery door off and install 2, one on each side of the AAA batteries.
Now flip the computer over to the front side. In step 2, press and hold any key for 10 seconds.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Now flip the computer to the back side to see the exposed batteries without letting go of the key.
So I'm going to hold that play pause key, flip it over, and then I'm going to go ahead and install the 3rd battery.
Which is step 3. Install the 3rd battery while keeping that key depressed. Make sure that the polarity on the batteries matches the illustration inside the battery compartment. Step 4. Let go of the key and turn the computer over to the front side. You should see a display with all of the characters active. Step 5. Push the play pause key once to start the setup process for the computer. Step 6. The display will change to look like this. Push the back leg key to choose either kilometers or miles for the units desired.
So you can see I've got miles is on, that comes standard out of the box. If I want to switch it to kilometers, I would just hit that backlight key, and you can see what it did is it actually starts the MI, which means miles flashing. I'll hit it again, takes it down to kilometers. In this case, I want miles, so I'm going to hit that backlight key again, take it to miles.
Step 7. Make sure that the crank line lists S1 CRA and shows a single crank as the icon. This is the factory setting. If it shows 2 cranks and DU CRA, then press the interval key until the single crank icon and S1 CRA is flashing.
So in this case, it did show S1 CRA, which means single crank. The icon is showing 1 crank. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit that interval button to show you what it would look like if it was up on dual. So now it's saying dual crank, and you can see the icon has 2 cranks. I'm going to take it back to single by hitting that interval button again, and now I'm back to where I need to be.
To continue, press the heart rate pairing key to set your preferences and activate the power crank pairing line of the computer. The crank line should now be blinking.
So this is the crank line. It's now blinking.
Push the heart rate key one more time to activate the pairing.
So I'm going to go ahead and hit that key.
The activated RPM portion of the display will now look like circling zeros. That means that it is looking for the crank to pair. Step 8. While the rotating zeros are active, rotate the crank to activate the sensors. You can twist it in the air or rotate the crank, but make sure that it keeps moving. This may take 30 to 60 seconds, so don't stop until those rotating zeros stop.
So in this case, they have stopped.
Step 9. When you are successful, the unique pairing number will appear in the RPM portion of the display. Note that each crank has a unique number. You can find this number on the side of the crank you are pairing. Once that number appears, the crank has been paired successfully.
So you can see the side of the crank, 59964, and I've got 59964. That means the proper crank arm is connected to the computer I'd like.
Step 10. Push the play-pause key to exit the pairing mode.
Okay, we're all set. Now I can put the battery door back on. And sometimes I do like to make sure everything is connected by pedaling the bike. And you can see I've got power and RPM, so that means it's working properly. Now I can use the instructions to properly mount the computer to the handlebars. Thank you and enjoy your ride.